In this tutorial, I'm going to show you everything about form in just 15 minutes. Here in the body, we're going to mention a form tag. So form tag has a opening and a closing like this. So inside the form, we have some input field. So we are going to say here input, and the input type, we have a type. So like type will be text. So every form has a type and a name. Let's say the name will be name. So if we now save it, there you can see we have an input field here and we can write anything over here. So we need to mention that what type of input field this is. So we are going to say here level, let's say level will be name. So right now the user will understand that we need to write name in this input field. So here in the level, what we are going to do is that we are going to mention a for, and in the for, let's say here name. And then what we will do is that in the input field, we say here ID, and ID will be this one, which is name. So if we now just copy this and paste it here, they'll save it. What will happen is that here, if we now just click on this name level, it will automatically select our input fields. So right now we're going to have one more input field, and that will be called email. So let me just copy this, and we're going to paste this here. And we're going to say here stop name, we're going to say email. So let me just select all of those, and I'm going to say here email. If we now just set this, there you can see we have one more input field here, but this doesn't look good. So what we should do is that we should separate those by using a div. So for it, we're going to say here div opening, as this div will end over here. And let's also add a line break here as well. So let me just do the same for this as well. So let me say here div opening and div closing. Let's also have a line break here, which is beer tag. So right now, if we just set this, there you can see it is in a separate line. And here you can see in the label, we set for equal to email, and here you can see ID equal to email. So if we now click on email, it will select the input field. And in this input field, we will only be able to write our email address, because we said here type will be email. And when we have the input field, we normally have a submit button, right? So let's just create a submit button. Let me just copy this, and I'm going to paste this here. And for the submit button, we do not have any level. So for the submit button, we need to set here input type will be submit. And let's say here name equal to register. And let's also add a value. The value will be register. If we now save it, there you can see we have a register button. And here, if you click on register, let me just make it bigger. There you can see name equal to empty and email equal to empty. So let's say something here. Let's say name equal to Yamin Shakil and email equal to yamin@gmail.com. And this time, if we click on register, there you can see name equal to Yamin Shakil and email equal to yamin@gmail.com. We are seeing this because we are seeing name and email, because we say here name equal to email, and also here you can see name equal to name. If you say here name equal to fname, then save it. Then if we say something here, then a random email address, click on register. There you can see fname equal to sd@, and email equal to admin@gmail.com. So right now, let me just make it look like this. So right now we're going to talk about an input field called password. So let me just copy this, and I'm going to paste this after the email address. And here instead of name, this time we're going to say here password. So let me just select those one by one. Type will be password, ID will be password. So let's say here password. And let me remove this F from here. And if we now set this, there you can see we have one more input field called password, and whatever we write over here, it will be hidden because the type is password. And there is one more thing that I would like to show, and that is here in the input field, we can add a placeholder. So what is placeholder? Let me just show you. If we say here placeholder, and if we say write your name, Then if we save it, there you can see over here it says in the input field write your name, and if you type anything, that text will be gone. You can do the same for the email and also for the password as well. So let me just show you. So for the email, let's say here placeholder, it will be, let's say, write email, save. There you can see write email. For the password, we can do it as well. Let's say placeholder, let's say here just password, save. There you can see it says password. And one more thing I would like to show, that there you can see those input fields are empty. So if we now click on register, those will be submitted. But what we want is that the user will only be able to submit those data only when they write something here. So for it, we are going to add something called required in the input field. So we are going to say here required. So if you just say here required, what it will do is that whenever you click on register, it will say please fill in this field. So if you just fill this field and click on register, it will submit the data. So you can do the same for the email and password as well. Let's say here required, and for password, let's say here required as well. Let me save it, click on register. There you can see write something, click on register again, please fill in this form. We'll give the email. There you can see it will ask for the password. So right now if you click on register, there you can see it got submitted, and there you can see all the data here. So right now we're going to talk about the input field called text area. So let me just copy this div again, Ctrl C, then we'll go down, and here we're going to paste this, and here let's say the label will be description. So for level here we are going to say DS, and for text area we do not need to say input type, we need to say here text area. And in the text area we write ID here, and ID will be DES, which is this one. So let's also add a name. Let's say name will be description. So if you now set this, there you can see we have a description box, and we can make it bigger and smaller. You can also add here pulse. Let's say pulse, it will be 30. Save. There you can see it become bigger. You can also see here rows, and let's say rows will be 30. Save. There you can see it got bigger. So let's just say here 10. Save. There you can see. Okay, we can just say here 5. Save. Okay, this looks better. So this is text area. So after text area, we're going to talk about number. So let me just paste on more div here, and here we're going to say, let's just say here price. And we are going to talk about numbers. So it will be number, the ID will be price here, because we said for equal to price, and the placeholder will be, let's just say here price, and the name will be price. Let's say here price. If we now set this, there you can see we have one more input field, and we can increase the number and also decrease the number. You can also have minus value and also plus value, and you can add any number you want. But if you want to limit the number, what you can do is that, let me say here the minimum value should be 0. So if you now set this, the minimum value cannot be less than 0. There you can see we cannot go below 0. And you can also set the max value. Let's say the max value will be 99. Save it. And here we can say the max value. If we say here 98, and if we try to increase it, we cannot go higher than 99. And we can also give it a default value. Let's say the default value will be 0. If we now set this, there you can see by default the value will be 0. So right now let's talk about one more input field that is called radio button. So let me just give a div here, and in this div, let's say we will check the user age. So in this level, let's say below 18, let's say for will be P18, let's say, and we are talking about radio button, so our type will be radio, and ID will be P18. So let's say here P18. For radio button, we do not have any placeholder. but we do have a name. Let's say the name will be age, and let me remove this required from here. So if you now save, there you can see we have a radio button here. So let me just copy this input field, label and input fields, and we're going to paste this here. And this time we're going to say here over 18, let's say O18, ID will be O18, and the name will be age. So if we now save it, there you can see we have on more radio button, and at a time we will only able to select on, not two. If you have on more radio button, it will be still the same. Let me show you. Let's say this one will be over 25. Let's say over 25, and this one will be over 25. Save, and there you can see we have 3 radio button, and at a time we can select only on. So after radio button, let me show you one more input field called checkbox. Let's say here, let me just copy this again, Ctrl C, then we'll paste it here, and here, let's say we want to see a user's degree, whether he completed his graduation, master's or PhD. So let's say here, study details, and we're going to have on more level, and this level will be called, let's say, PSC. We're going to have a checkbox, right? So for it, we need to say here input type will be checkbox, and the name will be, let's say, study. We do not need any placeholder for the checkbox. The name will be, let's say, study, and let me remove this require from here. If we now save it, there you can see study details, we have BSc. So we can select this. So let me just copy this and paste it here, let's say 2 times. So after BSc, let's say here masters, and this one will be PhD. PhD. And one more thing that we need to do is that here we need to mention a value. So the value will be BSc, and here the value will be master, and here the value will be PhD. If you now set this, there you can see we have multiple select option, and we can select all of those if we want. So this is the difference between radio button and checkbox. And one more thing I forgot to mention is that we also need to add a value here. So let's say value for the radio button. So value will be 18. Let's say here value will be 18 plus. Let's say here 18 minus, and here value will be 25 plus. So we also need to add the value as well, okay, for both radio button and checkbox. So after this, there is just only one more input field, and that is called select option. So for that, let me just directly say here div. In this div, I'm going to say here level. Let's say here we're going to see that or select the user location. So let's just say here location. Then we're going to have a select tag. So we're going to say here select, and in the select, we're going to say here option. Let's say the location is USA, and here we need to say value, it will be USA. Let me just copy this, and I'm going to paste this here. So this one will be, let's say, Canada, and the last one will be, let's say, India. If you now set this, there you can see we have some select option, USA, Canada and India. And in the select, we need to write the name here. Let's say name will be location. Save it, and there you go. So right now, if we just give some input here, give a email address, give a password, write some description, give a price, let's say it will be free, below 18, BSc, location is, let's say, Canada, and if we now click on register, you will see at the top all the submitted data. So those are everything about form. I tried to show you everything. as easily as possible. I hope right now you are clear about form. If you have any question or suggestion, just let me know in the comment section. Make sure to subscribe, and I hope to see you in the future tutorials.